Hi, everybody. This is Maxine Taylor with my Trumpology report for July 2020. And I'm going to start with a United States chart because I think a lot of people are more and more interested in the actual chart of the country. At least that's how it appears from the emails I'm getting. All right. So let's first of all start with the lunations, all right? In the United States chart, the full moon that we're going to be having on July 4th or 5th, depending on where you are in the world, is in 13 Capricorn 38. Find that in your birth chart because that is the area that pops, that comes alive. This full moon is a lunar eclipse, which means it'll be stronger 3 to 4 months after it occurs. If you have your sun, moon, or ascendant within 5 degrees, one side or another, of 13 Capricorn 38, it is a new life eclipse for you. In this case, it falls in the 8th house of the United States chart, which rules the treasurer, debts, escrow, taxes, financial losses. It can rule death. And of course, we are in the middle of a pandemic. Most importantly, of course, it rules secrets. And so it's going to be strongest 3 to 4 months from now. We'll be talking about it later on in the year. Okay, let's see. Now, it's going to be strongest November, let's see, October and November. I want to mention to you that on November 30th, the United States has an eclipse on its ascendant. Time for a new life. What does that mean? It is yet to be seen. Okay? Uranus is also involved, so there is rebellion, of course. But the sun is the giver of life, and this is terrific. I'm talking about the 7 Gemini ascendant with Uranus at 8 Gemini. Okay. The new moon, which is 2 weeks after the full moon, which is the, excuse me, lunar eclipse, is July 20th and 28-27 of Cancer. Find that in your birth chart, and that's where the energy starts moving forward. It sits on Mercury, communication, correspondence, and transportation in the United States chart. It deals with news reporters. Thank you, reporters, for asking the tough questions. I appreciate you so much for doing that. It rules public opinion, traffic, mass transit, travel, of course, any type of news outlet, schools, neighborhoods, teachers, and I mentioned public transportation. Okay, those are the lunations. Now, the sun, the center of our solar system, or the center of our world, the center of our life, is in the 2nd house, and we have a solar return this year, every year. This year, it's on July 4th, and so the center of our life is our finances. It is our life. So what is triggered, which is so awesome because it's in the 2nd house of money, is commerce and trade, and of course, earning power, savings, the stock exchange, our own personal finances, banks, debts, and this is personal debt. And so with the solar return, I would expect an announcement from the president about some of these areas on July 4th. Then it moves into our 3rd house, again, of communication, correspondence, transportation, everything I said about the new moon sitting on Mercury. And so there will be more life, more energy given to the news media, to communication, to neighborhoods, to public schools, transportation, etc. And that's more on the 16th. By the 30th, the sun touches our north node and amplifies everything I just said. This is awesome. I love it. Now let's look at the other planets, shall we? All right. Mars. Action, energy, what we fight with and fight for. What's going on? It's in the 11th house, which rules Congress. Okay. So there's feuding, fussing, and fighting. It deals with legislature, the legislature, the treasury. It deals with local government councils. It deals with friends. But this is Congress and congressmen and congresswomen, of course. And so there is lots of focus there, lots of aggravation, a good bit of fighting. All right. Venus, the planet of love and money and beauty, believe it or not, sits on the ascendant of the United States chart. It's there right now as I am recording this. It'll be there through the 5th. By the time it hits Uranus on the 8th and 9th, we're ready to have fun. And we're feeling better about ourselves. Uranus rules the president and the party in power. So we might expect some good news, which would make us feel better, all right? Then Venus sits on Mars, and there's passion involved. Now, the tone of the public is loving. It doesn't mean there won't be demonstrations, of course, but it's a more positive aspect, which I love. Then Mercury is going to go, it has been retrograde. It's going to go direct on the 12th. And so all things relating to money are going to move forward after July 4th, of course, on the 12th. It sits on our Jupiter, which is abundance. So there can be an abundance of money. Expect an announcement of some sort that will be helpful to our money situation. We've already had one today on the news of potential for some increase, financial increase. This is strongest the 9th through the 15th. And then on the 24th, Mercury sits on the sun, and we come up with new ways of creating income, which I think is terrific for the country. All right. Now, let's get on with it and talk about Trump's chart and what is triggered in his chart. I just want to make a little announcement here. For those of you who know astrology, you know that we're going, after Mercury goes direct, we're going to be in the shadow of the retrograde Mercury till July 26th. It's going to feel like Mercury's retrograde. Venus has gone direct, but we are in the shadow of the retrograde Venus until July 28th. Excuse me, cat fur. My cat lets me live here with her. On the 28th, we'll be out of the shadow of the Venus retrograde. So if you start a new project while Mercury and Venus are in the shadow, and it's their respective shadows, and it's not moving forward the way you might like, wait until we're closer to the end of the shadow and see if that doesn't help the progress of your project. All right. All right. Now, let's talk Trump. All righty. I've got so many papers here. Please forgive me for, oh, I know what I was going to mention to you. There, a little heads up. There's a new moon next month in August, August 18th and 19th. that sits on Trump's ascendant and his Mars. Mars is anger, Mars is energy. I don't have a chart here with his ascendant and Mars on it, but this is going to be very, very powerful. You can expect behind the scenes anger that will spill out through his ascendant, through his personality, and we'll see how that manifests. Just a little heads up. Okay, let's talk about the new moon and the full moon. Okay, we have a full moon, as you know, the 4th or the 5th, depending on what time zone you're on in the United States. Okay, it sits in his 5th house. It's in 13 Capricorn 38. It is a lunar eclipse, which means it's strongest 3 to 4 months after it occurs, but it's going to be with us till the next eclipses, which will be November and December of this year. So the full moon, the lunar eclipse, we're already feeling it. In the 5th house of children, so his children are coming into the picture. Sex, that is always a possibility with Trump in light of his history with women. Gambling, speculating, but above all, fun. He's having fun. He wants to have fun. And there is speculation involved. Now, this particular eclipse forms a T-cross with Mercury and Jupiter. I know this is a very busy chart. Jupiter in his 2nd house is money. So he's got, and this eclipse can trigger overindulgence. The eclipse is in opposition to Mercury, and Mercury and Jupiter are squared. So we've lots of talking, lots of ideas. Mercury in his 11th house of Congress and friends. The energy from this eclipse, because it is a T-cross, is the 8th house of secrets, sex, hidden sex, debts, secrets, joint financial ventures that we know nothing about because they are in the 8th house of secrets. I've said it 3 times. You get the picture now. We won't know what's going on. I'm telling you what's going on. Okay. The new moon, which is 2 weeks later, is July 20th. It's in 28 Cancer. Find that in your own birth chart because that's where the energy starts growing. Okay, well, now, I forgot to mention something. The full moon, the eclipse that we're having this weekend is quincunx Pluto. So he's adjusting the powers, the hidden power structure, the behind the scenes power structure that we are not privy to. It's 12th house. It's behind the scenes. There is often a leak from behind the scenes. So we could possibly know about it. Not so the 8th house necessarily. It's all speculation because that's secrets. This is behind the scenes activities. They're both secret. But we have to see how it shakes out. Okay, now the new moon on the 20th sits on his anti-vertex. This is in his 11th house of friends and group activities and possibly Congress because he's got friends there. Because his pole nature, his pole numbers are down, are seriously down, he may remind his friends in Congress of what he has done for them, or just simply ask for their help. The anti-vertex is the area of life in which you have more control. So there is more control that he may find in Congress. Now, the new moon also sits on Saturn, which is fear and restriction. And I think he is fearful right now because of his pole numbers. However, Saturn is responsibility. It's reality. And I think he is facing reality. Um, on its highest and best level, Saturn is responsibility, which I define as responding to your ability as a leader. This is really cool. So I think he's going to speak to all of our congressional leaders. This new moon also sits on Venus. Venus is money. Venus rules his midheaven. So it deals with his public image. And it rules his third house, which is Libra. And so he's going to remind people of deals he's made with them, that type of thing. It almost gives new life to his friends in Congress. I don't know how this is going to manifest, but we will see this because it's the 11th house. It's not hidden, which is really cool. Okay. We talked about, all right, the lunations. Now let's go over here to the sun, because the sun and the new moon sit on top of each other. And so what I just got finished saying is amplified by the giver of life. And there's more attention for him from his friends, to and from his friends. And he will assert his authority. He will speak with all of the people in authority in Congress. Well, I shouldn't say all, but this can be very helpful to him when it comes to all of his friends. And then on the 23rd, the sun moves into his 12th house of behind the scenes activities. And that's where, now remember, his 10th house is always active, so he will be before the public. But this is him working behind the scenes. Having talked about the 10th house, let's talk about it. Venus, the lesser benefic, wherever it is, you're loving it. You're blessed. And this is his public image. So while the sun is working behind the scenes, Venus is out front, adding to his popularity, adding to his presence. And I know the polls are down, but this is the way he sees it. Remember? It's from his point of view. And so he's loving the attention and the limelight, which he always does. Venus sits on Uranus, so expect the unexpected from him. Joyful, happy, unexpected on the 23rd. It sits on his north node on the 27th, so his public image in his own eyes and in the eyes of his followers, of course, is amplified. And then it sits on the sun, the 29th to the 30th, very end of the month. And he's feeling happy and confident. Now, I want you to notice Mars is in his 8th house of secrets. All right? Where did we see 8th house before? The empty arm of the T cross. 8th house deals with joint finances, deals with money, deals with sex, deals with death, deals with all secret activities. We may not know what's going on. We may not. But that's where his energy is, dealing with his secrets. All right. Mercury sits in his 11th house. Again, Congress and friends and group activities. It goes direct on the 12th. And this is when he can reach his friends in Congress. Now, Mercury rules his 2nd house of money, and his 10th house planets are all in Gemini. So Gemini rules his 11th house of friends. So he is absolutely hitting up his friends for money or support or whatever he wants. And it'll be easier for him after the 12th. There may be some announcement from Congress or about Congress. This will be at its peak, Mercury on the 20th of the month, right around the 20th. So I think that's it for now. There's a lot coming up. And each month, of course, I will keep you posted. If I have not done your birth chart and you'd like it done, just go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com. If I have not done your forecast for either 6 months or the coming year, I know you're going to want it. This situation will not be over. The situation in which we find ourselves in the United States is not going to be over by a long shot at the end of this year. But with an eclipse on our ascendant and our Uranus, it is a new life for us. And this eclipse is November 30th. Do you have your sun, your moon, or your ascendant within 5 degrees of 8.5 Gemini? If you do, you too will be undergoing a new life eclipse. And a new life eclipse lasts way longer than a regular eclipse. It can go on for a year or two. It's not a new chapter, it's a whole new book. And I want to encourage you, all of you, to step forward, especially light workers. Step forward. This is the time for which we incarnated. This is the time to do what we came here to do. And when I say we, I mean light workers, star seeds, walk-ins, everyone who walks in the light. Some of you don't feel ready. Well, if not you, who? If not now, when? If you don't feel ready, if you have resistance, there's a real good chance that the reason is your programming, okay? What you were taught as a child. If you're ready to change your programming, you can get a copy of my book, Move Into the Magic. Or if you want a one-on-one with me, go to my website, click on the Spiritual Coaching tab, and get a session with me. Get a Take Back Your Life session with me. It's a 3-hour session which will show you the story of your life in clear vision as you have never seen it before. And I'm not saying that doesn't come from me. That comes from the people I've worked with for over 30 years. So, if not you, who? If not now, when? And my blessing for you, dear friends, is that the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Peace and love.